So if we go further than that, for each criteria, you have a tiny drawing here, and when this criteria is met, there's a level that has to be reached. It appears in color in the guide here, and if it's not reached, then it appears in black and white. So it gives a clear reading to the customer. It's trying to make something difficult, simple to understand visually. So the more color you see, the more simple it is. So for the ski resorts, we have 42 different evaluation criteria. And this year we have 80 resorts all around the world with about 25,000 copies. It's available in French and in English on the web. You can find it anywhere. And once again, the aim is to help professionals define the scope of sustainability in the mountains, because once that's been done, once we defined this, professionals were able to set to work on this. They knew how to work on things and which subjects they should work on. And then again, the customers can choose on these criteria. So if we look further, this is what a ski resort looks like. And this is where you'll find in the guide, each one of these drawings refers to one of the evaluation criteria. So we look at, do resorts have wind power, or do they have proper sewage treatment here? Or what do they do for the lifts? Can you get there on public transport? Is there a local market? Do we have organic food? Can you park your car? And all these different criteria are there and visually made simple through this cursor so that, once again, people can choose. And this is also applied to mountain gear with the 3 ideas of providing an independent and simple rating system for brands and customers, help professionals and brands integrate sustainability issues, and put forward solutions so that the market can meet the customer. Customers come to us and say, where can I find eco gear? And brands say, yes, but we make eco gear, but nobody buys it. So the aim is to make these two people meet each other so we can go forward and the companies can go forward. And this is what comes out. The impact of our sports, well, they're quite different from what you think. Actually, 50% of the impact, say if you take a pair of jeans, 50% of the impact in the life cycle of a pair of jeans is once you've bought it. It's actually washing, ironing, and drying. It's not the manufacturing that's the most important part. And this is true for a lot of our gear. So every time we try and put out some information so that people can actually take into account the real important aspects. What we've done also is we've worked with the French government agencies and the National Association of Mayors to develop a charter for sustainability in the mountains. What is really important for us is that this is not something that you sign on to. It's not just a checklist. Every resort can look at it and find which one of these criteria are important for them and apply them, so that a small resort that only has 4 lifts doesn't have to apply the same criteria and work towards the same goals as a huge resort with 30,000 people that come there every day, and that's open the whole of the year. And that's where it's important, because in sustainability, one of the most difficult ideas is that there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. You can't have a can of Coca-Cola that's the same in China and in Mexico and in France and in Serbia. The answer to my problem here in Belgrade will be different to the answer for the next town down the road, and that's the most difficult idea to put across. That's why we tried to create this tool, so that each person can adapt the tool to his needs. And the next thing we do is we do carbon footprint studies. We did the first study, the first carbon footprint study of a resort, to find out what I showed you earlier on, that 70% of the carbon footprint is the transport, and the next 20% is the heating. So once again, the concrete and simple answer is, if you want to be responsible, if you want to be ecological, take the bus and go into an ecological building, and then you've reduced your impact by more than 80%. So that's what we have to work on, and that's why it's really interesting to have scientific data to put things together and put them forward. so that people stop saying that it's artificial snow that's the problem in ski resorts, because it's not. There is an impact, it's true, it uses energy and it has an impact on the mounting, but it's not the main impact, and that's what's the most important. If we can invest and work harder on the biggest impact, then we'll make more progress than if we work on the smaller one that everybody's talking about. And so following this study, the first one, a group of 10 resorts engaged in another carbon footprint, and you can find the list of these, you can find the list of these 10 other resorts. They're all based in France, but it actually corroborated the findings of the first study, except that it was a bit different. What comes out is that transport is 65% and not 70%, but it's still the main driver for the impact of ski resorts. So, as we spend 250 days a year on the mountains, we're often in sporting events where we see a lot of things happening. People using diesel generators, lots of rubbish, lots of plastic cups, things thrown away all over the place. So we started to think, what is an eco event? What can we do? So with all these events every year, we started to develop a methodology to look at how you can make your event more responsible, once again with concrete solutions. And we also worked with a national group to develop some more evolved tools, to now give a full diagnosis tool that's available for free on our website. It's at the moment it's only in French, but I have to translate it for this winter, so it's available more widely. And so this helped us to define what is an eco event. And I'm sure because we also once again tried to test things. So we organized the festival for 4 years with concerts in the same way as the Supernational Festival, and just tried to see what worked. Could we get people to do carpooling? Can we get waste recycling? How can we get a band to come? What kind of electricity can we use? So we tried all this out to define exactly what was going to happen and what is an eco event. So what is an eco event? It's somebody or an organization or an organizer that's aware of the environmental, social and economic impact. It's an organization that takes steps to reduce the different environmental impacts of an event. And for us, we've defined 6, and they would be transport, energy, food, waste, water use, and general pollution linked to the event. So once again, because we sat down, talked to other organizations, we managed to define what the main impacts were, which means that professionals can now focus on these to reduce their impact, and that's the most important part. So once you do that, you have to take into account the local population and have a concerted economic development, because you don't want to ruin the place where you're actually having the event. And to finish off, I'd just like to talk about our project for 2011. We would like to develop, once again, the Eco Guide to Mountain Gear to get more brands involved. Today we have about 40 brands. However, the global market is probably 400 brands that make up the market. So we are in touch with all of these. We're working with them, but it's actually quite difficult to get big corporations to answer. Some of them do, and when they see their rating, they say, oh, I don't want that published. And this happened several times this year. Very big brands, some of the biggest ones, thought they were very good, saw their rating and said, you can't publish that. So even if it's not published, it's actually very good, because they realize that they still have a long way to go, and they come to us, they ask for solutions, they ask questions, and they start thinking about it. It's like the guy from the Big Apple said, they come and they go home, and then they think, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. And then just a few stats about Mountain Riders. We've been there for 9 years now. We have 7 full-time staff, 250 days of presence on the mountain, 600 members, 10 branches in France. Anywhere where there's a mountain in France, there is a global branch of mountain riders, people involved locally. 3 international branches, maybe more, growing. And there are details if you want to contact us. We're always ready to help, and we'd like to cooperate and just make things go forward. And so to finish off, maybe we can watch a small video that shows generally how we try to see things. It's educational. We made these videos for children, and these are the basis of what we use to go into schools, and we managed to translate them into into English and German. Once again, they're available for free, and anybody can use them. So we'll just watch one of these, and it speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.